Hey, you guys, what's up? It's Ali, your favorite eccentric slow man. How's everybody doing? It's been a while. Um, I am literally just checking back in to do part two of the video I did, I think, a week ago, which was about which were my two favorite European, surprisingly favorite European countries out of the last 5 or 6 countries that I've visited since the end of May. I want to say, yeah, like since May 20th. I think that was what it was about. So anyway, I want to complete that because we only got through part one, but I also want to let you guys know where's Ali. So you guys may not be able to tell, but it looks a little country behind me. I'm in the car because we just had a rain and the mosquitoes are already mosquitoing, so I don't want to sit outside. Plus it's a little muggy. So anyway, I thought, I'll go live in my car. So anyway, y'all, I'm in the country. I am in the country. I'm in the country, the U.S. of A. But I'm also in the country. Like I'm in the backwoods kind of country. But I want to tell you, like I'm in a smaller city in southern Texas, almost southern central. Yeah, southern central Texas. And it's actually quite pleasant. It's a very small town. I don't know how the population, but it's a very small town. And but the people are so friendly, so amazing. I haven't been anywhere in a long time where people literally stop to talk to you, where people, make an effort to do more than just say hello, where, it's really small, but the number of, if there's diversity, which there is here a little bit, um it's it seems like everyone kind of flows and is, when you people say we all get along, or it's a kind of a family. I get more of a sense of that. This morning I was working out in my normal space and the sheriff came by, and he didn't speak per se, but rolled by slowly and gave me the head nod, and I just waved. And then the local, I don't know if it was the deputy, but anyway, the local police officer, sheriff, not the sheriff, but deputy, probably deputy, came by as well, did the nod, and made his way around. They do little monitoring, it seems. And then the person who manages the property stopped as I was working out. Actually, I was wrapping my things up to go, and he stopped. He ended up telling me a whole story about his son, and because I was working out, he was asking me if I was a track star. Do I run track? But telling me, sharing with me about the story about his son, and um, what he does for a living, and his affiliation with the Olympics. And it was really cool. Good story. He was just bubbly and open to sharing, and we exchanged, names and everything. And I said, if I see you around, maybe you join me for a little jog here on the property. It's super nice. And then I went to a coffee shop to get some work done. Um, because I am behind, very, very behind. But to get a little bit of work done, and not everybody like, jumped up to say hello, but just, just people who are really kind. I think it's been a while. Um, almost feel like I'm in another country because it's that kind of cordial behavior and um, not nice kind of thing, but polite and kind. people. They don't have to say extra. They don't have to go out of their way, but they do. And so I just thought day, excuse me, y'all. Oh, hang on. Day 6, I think it's day 6, day 7, something like that, of my time here. That it's nice to go into a place that's unknown, and people are just welcoming and just extra kind. Again, does not remind me of like standard United States. It reminds me of, or makes me think of foreign countries. And most of the time when I'm in foreign countries, it feels like that. People's energy, the kindness that people share, is like that. Not something that I would necessarily associate with being in the United States, and definitely not even Texas. It's not normal that people want to stop and you know chat and all of that. And someone else stopped the other day, but then I went to town and stopped at a couple places, and everybody's just super super nice. So, or kind. So yeah, I like I said, I'm in the country, I'm in the States, and just doing a little country living, doing a little RV living, which is similar to boat living. So I think I don't know if like these things are kind of manifesting the life that I really want, or at least enjoyed. I did enjoy my boat life. It's more indicative to the type of life that suits me, which meaning being able to move around, but also have my home kind of attached to me. So kind of cool. It's a neat thing, and you guys know, or some of you know, that I've always had been a fan of um tiny. Well, not always, but as of late, probably the last 10 years or so, really just looking at and exploring the tiny home idea and way of life, and just how much sense it just makes for the type of person I am, the type of life that I choose to live longer term. Like, I literally am kind of like, if the house is too big, which I've always had like a medium sized home, but if it's too big, like I want housekeeping and butlers and either that, or I want something really small. I know for a fact I never want to ever accumulate the amount of things I accumulated over the years just having my own home. And so I know I don't want that. And so yeah, it's got to be maintained. So I think that might be the other reason why I do gravitate a little bit more to kind of this livelihood, this lifestyle. Like, I don't need anything super big, just something that's in the right space, got the right energy, and allows me to continue to grow, learn, prosper, um, and have positive impact in the spaces that I leave a footprint or whatever. That's my goal in life. Um, to embrace what I'm created to do and share that so that it has some sort of positive impact on the world. So anyway, that's kind of where I am. What I'm doing, I am out here just moving and shaking. I haven't shared any videos, I don't think, here on YouTube, but I will. I'll share some. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a little bit of my daily life in the last few weeks, or well, last few weeks, and then here in the country the last week, last 5 days or so. So anyway, let's get back to Europe. Let's talk about Europe a little bit. So you guys, let me know. Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't see my chat at all. Just strange. Normally I can. Um, Let me know where you're checking in from, where you're watching from. Um, it's interesting. Yeah. Let me. Oh, maybe it's over here. Sorry, you guys. It's right where my lens is. So anyway, we'll leave it. Um, leave comments though, because they should just pop up on the screen. But I just haven't seen any, so I want to make sure. Let me know where you're checking in from. And if you have already been to Europe, I will do a refresh really quick of the countries, the 5 to 6 countries that I've been to in the last couple of months, really since May. Not counting Istanbul because that's kind of in the other parts since I was there for 3 months. But I think the countries that I am listing as in this grouping of the ones that I like the most, it's going to be Hungary, Czech, Germany, Croatia, and Serbia. And so part one, the country that I selected was Hungary. The city that I was in was Budapest, and I loved it. And so go back and watch that live, and you'll get some tidbits and just a little share what I thought and why I enjoyed Budapest, and whether or not I would go back, and whether or not I recommend it as a city and a country that you guys should visit. So on to number two, because I said I would do two. Um, Based on the time that I spent, this is kind of tough. So there's almost two. There's two. So almost I can name like three places. My top number two would be, let me think. My top number two, I think, would be Germany. Honestly, I was in Munich, Germany, and I think I was surprised mostly by the diversity. Or not, yeah, surprised. Surprise, surprise, by the diversity in the community. And it's good energy, lots of open spaces, open park areas, just felt really comfortable being there. They had some cool things there too. Now, I was only in Germany for a few days, 3, 4 days, something like that, because I went during summertime, high peak season. And what I'd like to do is return when it is off season. So I'm going to do that because I did like it enough to pop back in. But just in general, Germany, it was interesting. I would say there wasn't like a lot of they're in their old town square area is where they had the most beautiful architecture, and it there were it's just the buildings itself. Outside of that, everything looks like it could look like any other city. So it wasn't the architecture that really pulled me in, although they also had that gothic type of a building structure there, but everything else looked like just any regular city, in different parts of town. And I walked through a myriad of parts of town, which I kind of ran up on some places and some areas that I would not probably return to, which every city has. And I mention that because I think it's important if you're doing this kind of reinventing your life or continuing your life, because sometimes I don't even feel like I'm reinventing. I'm just living the life that was intended for me to live. And so when you're doing something and it's long term and it's outside of whatever that norm that society has defined or whoever has defined, but you're kind of stepping outside of that, realizing that you could live your life without a box, without the spoon. Y'all know I say this all the time, so I love my references to the boxes and the spoons that don't exist. But when you start living the life that is settling for you, because like where I am right now, this life is for some people, like, it's great. That is the life that they were destined and intended to live and experience and grow through. That really is. And it's amazing. But that's not everybody's life. And for me, it's not necessarily my it's not my intended life in terms of the location. But the type of lifestyle, it has some similarities. I love a community that is motivating and is inspired by. So is inspirational and is inspired by my presence, and I am inspired by the presence of those in that community. I think that helps us grow, and so that's why this wouldn't be like that kind of center point. But when you're going and planning on living a life like this, it's really imperative that the things that are critical or that make you tick first, that you either know what those are or you check the boxes as you're going through life and you're making your way through different cities and discovering if this city, like, so it could be a whole country but the entire country doesn't suit you, but there's a city or a town or an area that you really like, that suits you. And that's kind of my point here, is there's places everywhere that aren't great, don't fit every single person. It could be fantastic for one, and another person is like, yeah, I would never be there. And I think I talked about that even on the last video, when I was sharing some of the places that I've been, and then some places that some people live by, and some places that some people just have a really hard time living in or understanding why people like it. The bottom line is everything is not for everyone. Just because something works for one person doesn't mean that it's going to work for another. But in my travel, or not in my travel, but and in my travel, what I am discovering is more about what is settling, or I should say comforting, for me, or lifts my spirits and just feels right, you know. And when you find that as you're going along, kind of jotting down different things about different places and just noticing, taking enough time to kind of sit back and realize and notice, I'm gonna get out of the car. I think it's settled down. So I'm gonna get out and walk around so you guys can actually see some of the greenness. But while I share with you guys. But yeah, so being in spaces, let's sit back out here. Sit out here outside my vehicle. Being in spaces that let you see what is working for you, what gives you the right energy, what makes you feel like you actually can be your best, like where you are being, you're representing who you are in your best light. Those are the places that you really have to consider staying in. Actually, let me get my mic, y'all, because I know it's windier out here. but I want to take advantage because it hasn't been nice and windy as of late. It's been really, really, really hot. But hold on, I'm getting my microphone check, mic check, mic check. I kind of paused just telling you about Germany because I just feel compelled to always kind of restate this that, we do. I think we have times in our lives where we think everything is supposed to be, perfect, or it's supposed to, everything's supposed to flow a certain way, or we're supposed to flow a certain way, or if it worked for someone else, it's got to work for us. And I think as we mature and begin to understand ourselves even more, we realize that it's okay to have our own experiences. Excuse me, hopefully that's coming through for you guys. Microphone check. The blue light is on. So hopefully that's good. Somebody chime in, let me know if that is not. Give me a thumbs down, but don't leave the thumbs down. Change back to a thumbs up. So yeah, just a friendly reminder to learn who you are, learn what makes you tick, and what even in hardship, what is going to give you the energy, or kind of the, I don't want to say comfort necessarily, give you what you need to be the best that you can be in life. I think we're all put here to do something miraculous, something special, to not just, not everybody, but some of us are put here to do something, profound, to um, bring people together, or to create new things. That's why we have innovators, we have creators, we have all kinds of things, all kinds of different people. And I think, that's what makes it so beautiful, is that uniqueness. And but that also means that in that beauty, in that, identifying and realizing that there's a uniqueness there, realizing that we all aren't the same. I can't play the violin. um and I'm not an artist, I can't draw per se, but I feel like a different energy when it comes to meeting new people and experiencing different parts of the world, and sharing those things so that people have more of a connection with areas and or people that they are not normally accustomed to seeing or speaking with. And just, I've always been an info share person. I've always been a person that um, uh, I've always been a person who if you ask me about something, I'm gonna look it up or figure out what's this, what's that. I'm always, I'm like I was the Angie's List before there was an Angie's List, and so it feels really nice to be in spaces where people who need different things, or need assistance in certain areas, have a platform or a network or whatever to refer to help them get some of the answers that they need. And I figure, why not? If my walk of life can assist someone in their walk of life. Sorry, y'all. I should have put my do not disturb on. 1 second. Let me see if I can throw it on. If my walk of life can assist anybody with theirs, then, especially when it comes to travel. And it's not just the travel, it's the meeting other people. It's realizing how much in common we actually all have. We may do things different, we may decide to do things different, but just in general, the way that we want to live our lives, the way that we, each person really just wants quality of life. They really want happiness and some family orientation. And family doesn't have to be blood. Family doesn't have to be people that you are connected to from a biological standpoint. Family is what you make of it. And I am getting I have such I've had and am having such a great experience developing the family that I want to continue to grow with. And that is part of when I talk about energy. That's what I'm talking about. For me, that is what creates the space that says, oh, you know what? The wind is blowing. I could come back to this place. I could sit here for 3 to 6 months or even longer. I feel like I could develop some real friendships and things like that with people. That's what makes a place, tip top for me. And I felt like Germany was that place. It was, trying to speak out, around the wind. But this is the catch of, no sun and not as hot days, but we get clouds, wind, and that kind of stuff. So, but you know, knowing, going back to knowing what it is that you want and what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled, and in your purpose. When you know those things, you can better identify whether or not you're actually satisfying those things, whether or not you're in a place of peace. Because I think a lot of times we're doing so much to appease other people that and systems, things that have been in place or ideals that have been in place for so long that we lose what we were put here for. And I there was something that popped up yesterday. Let me see if I can get this right. And it was, how we have this idea. I'm gonna get back to the Europe thing. I'm gonna get back to Germany in a second, but I'm going off on a tangent here. But it talks about how you got to give, be a servant, give unto others. And we are of this point where we think that we're supposed to be in misery to make someone else happy. But if every person believes that they're supposed to be miserable to make another person happy, then who the heck is happy? What are we doing it for if we're not showing what happiness looks like? If we're not showing what living in a fulfilled purpose looks like? If we're not showing, okay, I'm gonna go back in the car because it's windy. If we're not showing this life that we speak so highly of or say that we want, if we're not doing those things and we're not displaying happiness, then people are literally just following us just because, or doing what we are saying because they're robotic, because you know they don't believe they have choice. What is that? And I don't want, sorry, that was an ant. I don't want anyone just robotically saying, "Oh, Ali said." I mean, you can, but I don't want anybody robotically just jumping on this bandwagon because E.F. Hutton, Ali spoke, but really because you actually see it in my walk. So really living and walking in the space of being fulfilled and honoring myself through helping other people along this journey, because it's not an easy journey, even though sometimes it can look like it can seem like it's just a piece of cake, and it can start that way. It can seriously and easily start with just buying a ticket. Y'all know my infamous shirt, buy the ticket. It could start that simply, but how do you maintain it, and do it in a way where you're not always, stressing about different things. So that's what I'm here to help you guys. So back to Germany. That was my transition back to Germany. So yeah, I actually enjoyed Munich. Like when I think of Munich, I think of the areas where you can meet a lot of people. They are a very lively group of people. I actually was there when the soccer, i.e., football tournaments that were going on. I think for the World Cup. Is it called the World Cup, y'all? But I was there when they were playing, or some team was playing some team. I don't know. I think it was Spain and something else. But anyway, it was crazy. And if you don't know already, Europeans go mad. Well, the rest of the world well, I guess the US does too, but we don't focus on soccer like we focus on football and basketball. So it's a little bit different. Let me know, you guys, if you can hear me okay. Actually, I'll turn the mic off. Well, I mean, it says it's picking up, so I'm gonna assume it's okay. Um, anyway, yeah, so they are really into, football, and these people. So you think that we celebrate? They celebrate. We were in the square. I happened to be walking through visiting, and there were major games on, and the entire square was lit. It was just, and these are, adults just going ham over the soccer games. And I get it. I get it. It's the same as when we have our Super Bowl. So um but there was also like this cool energy. Like people were just cool walking up to you. I was walking down the street, just exploring, getting lost basically, and exploring, trying to make my way out and see what else was around town, and just getting a feel for the structure of the city and stuff like that. And some people walked up to me, and just basically engaging in conversation and what's up, and joking around and having fun, as if these are people that you kind of know. And that just always feels good. It's nice to walk around and people aren't afraid to speak to you, or when you smile like today. And this is not Germany, but just a correlation to this. People were just smiling, and that's actually one of the things that you don't see a lot in Europe. You don't see people just walking around smiling, or if you happen to look up, they smile, kind of the nod, like like to say hello. But So it's nice when you see that it's actually kind of welcoming, and it's comforting. And I felt like that in Germany. It wasn't everywhere, of course, because I don't want you to plop down in a place and you're like, oh, it's miserable, you this, that, and the other. But it's a place that it's open. It's not, to me, all bunched up. At least where I was in Munich. Um, Great parks, big parks, and they have this one area that I actually may have posted this, but they have a river that people surf on. It's a man-made. The waves are man-made, right? Am I saying that right? The waves are man-made, but the river is the river, I guess. And it's just it leads, and it's in the middle of this big park. But it's really cool to sit and watch all these people from every age demographic jump in and surf, like literally surf in the middle of the city on a bridge. I mean, on a river, and you can stand on the bridge and just watch people surf. It's pretty cool, because Munich is landlocked. Germany is landlocked, so if you want water any other kind of way, you're gonna have to go to the coast, which we could talk about in another video. When we talk about how close or whatever things are. Hey, Marilyn. All right, so my messages are working, and you can hear me okay. Um, Good afternoon. I'm just on doing part 2 of the video from a week or so ago, about actually may have been 2 weeks ago, about out of my last 5 cities. You were on, I believe. which were my top two, and I have a third one too that I'm going to talk about. But I'm on Germany, Munich specifically. I have not been anywhere else in Germany. I've been told that there's some good and just different cities to check out, like Hamburg and Berlin. Um, and I think I will when I go back. I did meet some people on the bus. This guy ended up sitting next to me on the bus, and we were talking. This was from Prague to Germany, and we were chatting, and he's never been to Berlin because it is so far north. So he was talking about how, he pretty much stays in the Munich area and was willing to offer and share anything if I needed it during my stay. So again, just really open, kind people. Uh, um, I'll tell you a little bit about cost, because I went during high peak season. Things are on average about the same that I've been seeing all over Europe. I did stay in a hostel, but I had a private room, which was really cool. And I think it was only like 37 or $40 a night. It's private room, private bathroom, lock, everything. And it was a nice hostel. I actually will put it in the comments. And the reason being, well, not only because it's a nice hostel, it was a nice hostel. It was really fairly quiet, but they also had a bar on site, a game room there, and offered little incentives when you check in. So for every night you get a drink ticket, you can use it for coffee, water, juice, or something at the bar. Um, they had the TV and stuff in there so you could watch football, and just very, very clean, great staff. So I will share where I stayed in the comments if you are into that life. If you don't have to have like a huge hotel or, larger big name hotel. Um, but as I budget, I think the regular hotels, so something like a Hilton or something like that, um, was over 120 per night, and I just didn't want to spend that. So I lucked out with the hostel, and it was in a decent part of town, really close to the bus station, so I could walk. Really close to the train station, um, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, yeah, the train station actually was across the street. And so that was great. The cost of other things was on average what you see in Europe. Nothing really out of the pocket. And then walking around, it was pretty easy to find stuff. Restaurants and things like that were open. Lots of different options. Uh, they have great, like, marts kind of stores, not huge grocery stores where I was, but the marts, and you could just grab things to eat if you didn't go to a restaurant. So that's if you're living the short life, short stays. If you're staying longer, I think it marries up with most European countries, and lots of different options and things like that there as well. Transportation there is great. They have trams. They have. Can I put on my do not disturb? They have trams. They have buses. Sorry, y'all. They have subway station. I believe they have subway too. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I walked past the subway a couple times. And then they have their regional trains and bus station that you can, bop around across Europe. And then, of course, an airport in Munich as well. So it's great. Oh, and then um, they have taxis and everything. And I'm trying to think if I believe they had rideshare. They had Uber rideshare, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm mixing up my cities and I don't have my notes with me, I just did this kind of impromptu, which I always do, y'all. I will go back and look to see if there were specific apps that I downloaded for Germany, which I don't think I did. I don't think I had to download anything specific for Germany. It was pretty easy going for Germany. So food wise, I stuck to, I think, basics. I had vegan bowls and things like that. But let me think. When I was in Germany, was this Germany? No, that was Serbia. The place I'm thinking of, this vegan place I went to, that was actually Serbia. So, yeah, food wise, I didn't really explore the palate, but Germany's, another one of those countries that's well known for their meat, kind of a meat and potatoes kind of place, from what I understand. So yeah, you have to kind of explore. If that's your palate, then you'll do fine. You'll love it there. Um, so yeah, Germany is my second pick because of all of those things compounded together. Make it a place that I think that I would have lots of activities. I could meet people fairly easily. It seems like there would be a number of events, things to go to, easily walkable, very comfortable areas, places to walk and get exercise, run, bike. Biking is a big thing there as well. Easy mobility. So all of those things compounded, and price point was decent for Europe, if that helps. And then the country in and of itself, I feel like outside of it being landlocked, there's, different, you get a little bit of everything. So if you're a person who loves the cold, you might like Berlin a little bit more because it's so far north. If you're a person who prefers kind of a mediocre, but like it's a transient city that everybody comes through, Munich, it feels like that place. Everybody tells me I need to go to Hamburg because it is like the um it's very, not bohemian, but it's more artsy. So I definitely want to check out Hamburg. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you have been to Germany, if you have a specific city pick, or city pick that you liked. And then any tips, anything that I should see, because I definitely will go back and check some of the other areas out, and I'll stay longer, because now I know what to expect, where to go, all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna give you my last one, I think. No, I'll do it in another video. We'll make. I'm at 42 minutes, so we'll make the last one kind of short. So my last pick, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, you guys. My last pick out of all the places that I've been in out of the last 5 countries would be Serbia. Um, I did also go through Slovenia and Austria, and we didn't stop in Slovakia. We went through it, and it was enough for me to see. It's one of those the little 3 countries that I mentioned in there, including Austria. I think are places to go if you're literally going to do something off the beaten path. I don't think the cities are you know really robust. I think everything that I've seen people share about those 3 countries is the things that are kind of out, away from the downtown area. So I don't really count those, but I went through them long enough to decide if I went back, it would be to do something specific. So Serbia was a huge surprise, and a surprise that was, I think, even more fulfilling, because it had been mentioned, the country was mentioned to me last year. And someone asked me if I would visit. Have you ever considered going to Serbia? Because we're thinking about, the in and out. It was it was actually another American that I met in Albania. And I was like, Serbia. And I don't know if I was thinking Syria when she said Serbia, because I had that, do we go there like on vacation kind of American commentary, that I'm not, you know, proud. That's what came to my mind with that. I didn't look it up. I was just like, No, I haven't. But that prompted me because I was like, Serbia, where's Serbia? And so I looked because people do ask me when I tell them, where I just came from. They're like, Serbia, where is that? And I can proudly explain where it is. Upon going, learning about how it is part of the old Yugoslavia, along with two or three other countries, and just understanding all of that. So this is when history starts to come together. Uh, and all the things that you either learned in school or didn't learn, but you kind of saw in media or different things like that, I think start to make themselves known. I feel like um, when you travel, at least for me, that's how it's been for me. When I travel, I'm full of, I constantly am in this state of aha, oh my God, wow, that's crazy. Like, oh, putting two and two together. So Serbia was just interesting. So I took the bus to Serbia. Um, Number one, let me tell you my first mistake, or not mistake, but lack of awareness or consciousness about this was that Serbia is not part of the EU. They are not part of the EU. And y'all, if you remember when I did the video for Hungary, I bought a European SIM card. I paid like 50 bucks, which is still really cheap, for 500 gigs. And I only got to use it for three countries. Yeah, three, kind of three and a half countries. But didn't get to use it for Serbia, and I realized that once I got there and nothing worked, right? So I did go and easily got another SIM card, and that was a piece of cake, pretty much. But so they're not part of the EU, and that's my but for not part of the EU. And let me tell you my and. The great thing is it if when I share a little bit about the country, I was in Belgrade. The and for me is that it's not part of the EU, which means it's not part of Schengen, uh, which means that my 9180 there does not count against my other European countries. So it is a place that you can go when you need to bounce out of Europe. If you haven't settled, you don't have your residency yet, you don't have a long term visa set. Each country has different rules, so it doesn't have this all encompassing uh, set of visa rules applied. But the 9180 for Schengen is universal for Schengen, meaning that you get 90 days out of every 180 days in the European Schengen Union. If it's outside of that union, it gets its own 9180, 600, or 12 months like Albania. Okay, that's a little tidbit, little side note. But so that was my and. So it was a plus and a negative at the same time. I was like, oh, I'm not using European days. Fantastic. But oh, my SIM card doesn't work here. So I did have to get another SIM card, but I only spent $7 on the SIM card for 15 days. And I used all 15 days. But surprise, surprise. So I took the bus there. They they actually, Serbia, have they don't have Uber. They have Yandex and Cargo, and I will throw those in there in the description as apps to download to get your ride share rocking and rolling. Fairly easy. With a SIM, you have to have a local number, so you got to get a SIM, or you have an eSIM. I believe eSIM gives a local number. So you have that, and uh, anyway, yeah, got there, got off the bus, had to go and get cash because I didn't have cash, and there were only taxis, and I didn't have a SIM card. But I knew where I was going. I knew where my hotel was, at least on the map. I knew where it was, or I knew the name of it. And I literally didn't want to walk that far. It was like a 35-minute walk, and not knowing the city, but it was daytime, middle of the day, early day. Wasn't super hot. And again, I'm only carrying my carry-on bag and my smaller backpack. So, but I wanted to grab a taxi, and I approached the taxi, and it was 2,000 Serbian. I don't know what the Serbian dollar is called. I actually have some. Hold on. I have money left, y'all. It is called dinar, 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 dinara on here, but it's dinar. So, which would be about 20 euro. And I was just like, I don't think I want to spend 20 euro. So I started walking. I was like, I'll walk along and see if I can, maybe grab another taxi if it feels like it's too far. Well, it ended up being a hike because most old towns are at the top of hills. Even in Istanbul was the same way. A lot of these cities, the old town is where it originally started. So they build them higher so they have a vantage point, protect their city. So you gotta climb, and you might not realize that you gotta climb until you get to that where you're like going uphill. And boy, let me tell you, whoo, it was something else. But I did walk all the way to my hotel and got checked in and everything, and just started exploring the city, the downtown area. Hey, Marilyn, I'm gonna read your comment before I go on. Stayed in Munich, visited the castle. Let's see. Oh shoot. The comment went away. Sorry about that, you guys. My fingers all in the screen. Okay, the comment went away, and for whatever reason on here, it's not giving me the option to highlight my comments. Maybe because I'm in this mode. So anyway, back to Serbia. So got to my apartment, which was in the old town area. So I was right across the street from the big castle and the river, across the street from the big castle and the big park, and then through there you can access the river. And the town where I was, lots of hills, up and downstairs, all around. But I walked around there. There were some decent places, I think, to eat. I was actually literally right across the street from two restaurants, around the corner from another one, down the street from a couple shop and goes, which is like their 7-Eleven, and just really close to everything, and only about a 7 to 10 minute walk to the city center, like where everything is, the big mall, probably 7 minutes, the big mall. And then you can walk through all this, like the Republic Square, I think is what the name of it was. And so that was great. That was great. But I'll tell you the other reason why I was prompted to go to Serbia. I was looking at um, uh, I was looking at how to supplement my accommodation. So a lot of times you guys ask me, how do I afford to stay in places? So I left my full-time corporate job 4 years ago. How do I make income? How do I, sustain this livelihood? And this is one of the ways. I do trusted house sitters, which is pet sitting or house sitting. If people don't have pets, there are people who do just need someone to house sit for them. Anyway, I was house sitting for someone with, I as I was searching, I just was like, which one of these countries here has some house sitting? And Serbia popped up, and it was perfect, perfect location, perfect timing. I said, hey, you know what? If I'm going to go check out Serbia, let's do it at no accommodation cost. Well, a little bit of accommodation cost because I arrived 4 days early. So, because I was in Croatia, and I was in Zagreb, Croatia, and I wasn't really keen on staying another 4 days. I think I was there for 4 days, and I was just like, this isn't where I really want to spend another 4 days. So I was like, oh, I'll go and check out this part of town before I do my house sit. So I did my house sit. My house sit was almost 2 weeks. My house sit was in the kind of the ritziest area of Serbia. So it's more very upscale, because when I would tell people that's where, I was staying, just trying to say the name of the area, everyone's like, ooh, that's ritzy part. I didn't know. Anyway, my host was fantastic. I can share more about my house sitting experience in another video. But one of the things that was really awesome, one of the few things that was really awesome. So I was able to walk around town and explore, which was really fantastic, super hot. but just it was really walkable. I could go to the park, I could go to the riverfront with ease, and I could go into the town and go through the Republic Square area and then hit the downtown area, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes flat, right? And just be all over different parts of town, easily walkable, easy to jump in a taxi, to hail a taxi. And they do have trams. They have new and old trams. Their old trams are rickety loud, but they get you where you're going. Couple tips about their trams. The old trams don't have like a payment kind of thing, so you're supposed to buy your tickets online or at one of the kiosk things that they have. And I only saw one in the 2 weeks, 3 weeks that I was there, because I think I was there about 3 weeks. I only saw one, and it was on the far end, far northern portion of town by the river. And what I found out from someone who lives there and has been there almost a year, that nobody buys tickets. People just get on the tram. There's a tram ride. They don't ask. You just get on. And I was like, oh my God. So yes, you can go on the app. There's a Belgrade app, and you can purchase tickets, and you could just have it just in case someone asks you. They're fairly inexpensive to get, so you can do that as well. I actually only took the tram one time. I pretty much walked everywhere so I could get my steps in. But being in that kind of upscale area was fantastic, because I got to experience a really cool cultural thing, and that was the African Museum. They have a relationship with West Africa primarily, and have some artifacts and relationship, and there is a full African community there, which I thought was spectacular. Like, I love the fact that there was a full community. And when I say, like, you can go to places, including the United States, and we have an African museum, African American museum, or whatever, but it may be in an area that does not really connect or show community for that community that is being represented in the museum. You see that all too often. And so I was just like, let me go see. I wanted to go check it out anyway. It was interesting first arriving, because of course it's mostly everybody there was Serbian. But as you kind of moved around and things started to become, it was a little bit more lively. There was such a mix. And what was great about it was the genuineness of the mixes and the connection and the people, collaborating with one another. It was so genuine, and I don't think not one time felt out of place in Serbia. I don't think there was one time where I felt out of place. And that can happen even in places where I like a city, and it's like, I feel out of place here. Even though it's like, oh, you belong anywhere you want. No, that's not necessarily true. You may want to be in a place, but it may not be like the space for you. So I didn't feel out of place in Serbia, even though like most of the city is, has a typical kind of East European feel. And I was surprised with even that diversity. There was like little sprinkles here and there, but to be able to experience the African community and all of the local Serbian people, like meshing it up with the African community that is there in Serbia, living well, thriving, all of that. It was fantastic. Like, I loved all of it. So that was a great plus. The city was very walkable. They have a I'm sorry, lake riverfront area, and this is the Danube River, y'all. This is the infamous river I talk about every city I've been in, that just keeps going and going and going. And they have a beautiful boardwalk that goes all the way down, huge Galleria Mall, tons of restaurants. I mean, it's so upscale. It is something that you would see in a San Antonio, in a Chicago riverfront kind of. It has that feel, brand new, very upscale, posh, and accessible from the castle, which was like all the way at the end, top, I don't know, whatever, all the way down to the area that I was staying in, and even further. Like, it goes to, I think, the fairground. I don't know if you can walk the boardwalk past the fairground. But that's like miles. And bikers, skateboarders, rollerbladers, skaters, walkers, runners, everything. And then there's this other area right in that, it's called the Bel Belgrade waterfront. That area was fantastic, which is where the Galleria was and everything. All brand new, high rises going up. I ended up staying for 2 more days, uh after, yeah, 2 more nights after my house sit finished, and got to experience being right by the riverfront, the waterfront area, and all of these new apartment complexes, buildings, this whole community, which a lot of places are doing everywhere I've gone from Albania on, where they have these brand new complexes, and um, pretty much anything that you need, you can access within 5 minutes walking, right? So I love that. It was perfect part of town. I literally went to the castle. I went to the Central Republic area, walked the riverfront, everything, even at night, because then I was so close to my apartment. I didn't need to take a taxi, didn't need to worry about tram, nothing, none of those things. So that was fantastic as well. The cost was relative to anything in Europe. um, the apartment slash studio that I rented, there's so many to choose from. I can share the one that I rented. I would probably have picked a different one because this one was more like a hotel that had a kitchenette. But it was still very nice, very nice. Up to date, up to date elevators, building, front staff that was there, not 24 hours, but I believe 12 hours a day. Uh, Everything was just really top notch, uh, and just made the overall experience of basically, I can say that I stayed in 3 different parts of town, and each of them was really comfortable for me to be in, just popping in and not having done any research on the city, but staying there to do like I said, a house sit, which was great. My host was great. The kitties were good. They were a little off kilter. They were the chattiest cats I have ever experienced. But again, a good experience overall. And that is, I kind of add that one in because it didn't beat Germany, because Germany is just more built out. There's just, I felt like, more nature type things, greenery in the space that I was in. Whereas Serbia, to see more of that greenery, you kind of have to go out, like to Novi Sad, I believe, and some of the others. They do have hiking and all of that, but it's not like, they have parks and things, but I didn't see any parks as big as the park in Munich that I mentioned to you guys. So, like I said, it's energy. It's energy. But I was very surprised, very welcomed, and loved the experience I had with um, the experience I had in where did I go? What did I talking about? In Serbia. So definitely would recommend it. You guys, if you get a chance to check out some more East African places, definitely consider some of those. The two that I mentioned, as well as the first one from part one. But I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up because I'm over my hour by 4 minutes. Let me know in the comments if this is helpful. Marilyn, I can't see your comment, so I'm actually gonna read it later and respond to you. But thank you, as always, for jumping on and spending some time with me. And let me know, you guys, if there's any other information. I'm gonna try to remember to put the links and things like that into the description for you guys for where I stayed in Germany, in Munich, the hostel that I stayed in. And then also I'll give you my link tree. So if you guys are interested in doing a trusted house sitters gig, something like that, or just seeing how it works, you'll get 25% off by using my link. And it also helps me. I'll get like a small percentage that doesn't cost you anything more. And like I said, you're getting a 25% off discount. And maybe check that out. So if you are getting started in along this journey and you want to figure out ways to supplement the most expensive part of this, especially if you're doing short-term jumping around, that's when your accommodations are the most expensive. When you're doing a longer term, like 3 months, even a month, but 3 months or 6 months or something like that, you can negotiate and get much better rental prices. But if you're just like hopping around from different places, you're going to pay kind of the higher level. This is a way to supplement that, explore, and get to see other places. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Again, love to share and give you guys as much information as I can, and that I am privy to. So you guys know the drill. I'm going to get out of here until next time. And actually I'll share a little bit more about the house sit, and then some of the other places that I've been, because I've kind of neglected. I haven't shared video format of some of the things that I've videoed from the last, quite a few places. You guys don't have a lot of Asia on here. But I'm planning to put some more of that stuff on there, and then actually share with you guys some of the information that I'm going to put in some guides. I haven't done a guide since I was in Africa about places to go, places to visit, things to see. But I'm going to get back to that and share some of those with you guys. So you guys have like a PDF that you can just go and take a look at. All right. So, y'all, let me get out of here. Y'all know the drill. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. Toodles and noodles. Peace and hair grease.